close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust.
Hello there. So today I'm going to show you how I've been doing these super bright blue eyebrows. They have been getting so much positive attention and feedback, both online and in person. People have been so nice about them. So I thought I would show y'all how I do it. A lot of people are very specifically wanting to know how I get them so bright and blah blah blah. So I'm going to show you my secret products that are not secret that I've been telling everyone. And also how I get these to stay on even when I go to the gym, before also then going to work for 8 hours. Yeah. Most of the time I wear these with no other foundation or anything, which does make them easier because I don't have to worry about like fallout from the blue eyeshadow and stuff that I use to seal them. It's a little bit trickier with foundation, but as long as you're patient and just take your time, it's still not a big deal. But yeah, I guess we'll get right into it. Oh my god, it was so weird to do my eyeshadow without having eyebrows on. I haven't done that in forever. So let me show you the products that we're gonna use. So I'm gonna use 3 different NYX eyeliners. I'm gonna start off with a blue one. This is from the Epic Wear. It's one of their Epic ink liners. It is in the shade Vintage Baby. So it's a nice bright blue. And then I've got 2 of the Epic Wear waterproof face and body eyeliners, one in white. These are the paintbrush tip type ones, and one in black that I'm going to use for the hair strokes in the front and then the tails. And this is going to be the secret to make this last all day, including like going to the gym and then work 8 hours afterwards. It's pretty impressive. And then I am going to be using a couple of brushes and some eyeshadows. So I'm going to use just an angled liner brush. And I will need this is slightly optional, but like a small brush and either some concealer and foundation or something along those lines. And I thought I brought it over here. But I will need a really small, thin brush to do some darker lines at one point. And then the eyeshadows that I'm going to be using are the Warrior 3 Juvia's palette, this blue, clearly it's my favorite thing in the world, and then the blues in the Allure 2 Juvia's palette, mostly these 2 shades. And then completely optional, like I said, was the concealer and foundation, as well as some makeup remover and a cotton bud to do the split. And then if you want, you can also do the rhinestone in the slit that I'm going to do, and you'll want some lash glue for that as well, but that is not required for this. So what I'm going to start with is just the regular blue eyeliner. I almost didn't get this, and I actually didn't buy it. I got it for free. And now I'm mad that I know that it exists, because originally I was like, oh, this isn't like the exact shade of blue that I personally like, but it absolutely works, especially as a base to then put shadows on top of. So I'm going to start with the bottom line. Ta-da! Super easy, especially with this type of eyeliner. These are really easy to control. I just prefer the paintbrush tip ones for important detail work. Okay, and then I'm going to do the top line, but not towards the front where I'm going to have hair strokes. So I'm leaving at least like a third of the front half. And now I'm going to start making some hair strokes with the blue. Super duper easy, quick. Doesn't have to be perfect. do a lot more detail with it later. So that's the majority of the base. And now I'm going to go in with the black eyeliner and just do the tails. A lot of times if I kind of go outside where I want to be, I can kind of use my finger to smear it out before it fully sets. Gotta be careful, but... And I'm not gonna leave the tails black personally. I could, since there's black in my hair. I just prefer to make them like a super dark blue, like my roots are on the blue side of my little split dye. It's not just blue. I've got purple on the other side. It's very dark right now because I was tired of refreshing it, so I was like, I'll just do it a little darker and then let it fade for longer. But, so now I'm going to take the white eyeliner, and I'm only going to put it on the little front hairs in the front. This is going to, one, make this last really long, but also you put a white base under anything, and it's going to make the color a lot brighter. And this is how I make the blue super bright on the front of my brows. And in general, if I want anything super bright, I put a white base down. Yeah, just make some little hair strokes. Biggest thing is kind of just making sure there's not too much product on my brush so that I can get a nice thin line. Instead of just making a mess, which I do sometimes. Still recovering from a little May cold, excuse me, so I'm a little sniffly, skin's a little dry, bear with me. My skin's better than it's been in like a week and a half though, so we're dealing with it. And I know I like to make a couple of these pretty long, so they stand out a lot more 3D and farther from the rest of the brow, so I'm just making sure I extend a couple of them. Yeah. It looks super weird now, but once you start adding eyeshadows, it's gonna start to look pretty cool. So, speaking of, let's do it. A lot of times when you're doing eyeshadows, you want to start with the lightest shade and move to the darkest shade, but there isn't a huge difference in the eyeshadows I'm using, so I can start with the dark and it'd be fine. So I'm going to take a mixture of these dark blue eyeshadows on this little angled brush and start completely covering up the black, and also I'm going to start right where it meets the blue so I can start to get a good blend there. But like I said, I'm not going to leave the black eyeliner just by itself. I am going to cover it with blue. That's just my preference. But you could leave it black for like a full black to blue or whatever color you're doing ombre. This cold still got me mouth breathing a little too. Ew. Disgusting. I'm probably gonna shave my beard like tomorrow or something, but I'm trying to get myself to commit to it for a little bit because it looks good right now. I do have it filled in a little bit on some sparse areas. I mostly get sparse right here and then right where my mustache connects. And then I have a really dense patch of hair right here on each side. So the emptier spots next to it look a lot more dramatic and I hate it. Ugh. That's really the only part of my beard that I'm self-conscious about, other than all the frickin' acne it gives me. But, okay, so now I'm going to go into the lighter blue and start to go over the front of the brows. I will add some darker blue too, but I'm going to start with that bright blue. This blue eyeshadow is so pretty. I just want like 8,000 pounds of it by itself. Okay, and I'm going to make sure I fully cover the white. You could leave the little white tips right at the top. I think sometimes that looks good. But lately I've been preferring not to. I've been preferring to make it just a super bright blue. And I particularly hate it if there's just like one little hair tip that's managing to poke out, or blue. No, white. I'll get it right eventually. I've had a rough week. Got sick, worked 9.5 hours, trained legs within an inch of my life, and then worked another 9 hours. Barely recovering for all of it. The things I do for leg gains. Cool, so I'm going to take the darker blue, same brush, and I am going to put it on the bottom, which kind of gives like a 3D shadow, like the hair is actually sitting on your face. And also makes it look like it's like denser and thicker towards the bottom, which is also a more realistic type of thing. I'm not really trying to fool anyone. I don't really care, but I do think the semi-sketchy but also semi-realistic nature of these eyebrows is cool. I like it. Still trying to make sure there's a semi-decent blend going on. Sometimes you just have to go back and forth between the lighter and the darker shadows a few times. And just eyeball it. Woo! Okay, I'm gonna go check and see how these are looking and get ready to move on. Cool, I actually made sure I grabbed everything I need. So, I did grab a little thin brush. I forgot that it was in there. And I'm gonna take the dark eyeshadow. And if you lick it, it doesn't go everywhere. And I am going to put some darker hair strokes in between the lighter ones to really kind of make everything 3D, give even more dimension, and connect that bottom line too. I was very pleased to see that my eyebrows were not too terribly asymmetrical. They often are. Just is what it is. It's my lot in life. Alright, now, before we get into the fun of the eyebrow slit and everything, something that's been a game changer that's really sold me on probably continuing to purchase this for these eyebrows specifically is going back in and adding even more hair strokes further back into the dark blue of the eyebrows with this pen. Especially a couple that go up above the line. And then I can also use this to kind of extend some of these hair strokes too. Watch this. It's so pretty. Always struggling with overexposure. I apologize. Watch this. It's so pretty. Dude. I love it. And I've still been experimenting on like how much I want, how far I want to draw it back. But it is just so much fun. So much fun. Okay. Yay. Cool. So now I'm going to take my little foundation concealer brush. I'm using foundation because my foundation is really high coverage. And it's basically a concealer. It's just the MAC Studio Fix pen. Unfortunately, because you get like half an ounce of product for the price of a full ounce of foundation. It's terrible, but I love it, unfortunately. For my bank account, and I'm just going to kind of clean up in between some of these hairs. So they're a little more highlighted. This is a lot easier to do, particularly because I do blue with no foundation, because if you are a white person like me and you are not extremely severely pink, any amount of yellow in your skin is gonna mix with any fallout or smearing you do with blue eyeshadows and do a green cast. So that is a big inconvenience with loving the color blue that I have found with both eyebrows and eyeshadow that I don't have a magical answer for. I just, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll go over it. If it smears and turns green, I'll let it dry and then put more on top of it. That's the only answer I have. Unless it's super, super bad and egregious, I might actually have to take makeup remover to the area and start over. Unfortunately, that is the entirety of what I have discovered. So, cool. I do feel like these eyebrows are a little high up for my taste, so... And I do like my eyebrows drawn on a lot higher than they naturally grow, but I feel like it's a lot easier for me, so I'm going to try to bring it down a little bit. Mostly just right at the front. And I'll probably fix it a little off camera too, because I'm definitely not used to doing my makeup on camera. Haven't done that in a while. So now I'm gonna do something that is, once again, it's a lot easier to clean up my eyebrows if I don't have any other foundation on. And it's also a lot easier to do the slit if I don't have foundation, because you're gonna see it's gonna be a little difficult to not have it smear everywhere. But I'm gonna do my best. So I'm going to take a cotton, this is all optional now. You could stop with this. You could set this with translucent powder, with a setting spray, but honestly with the NYX waterproof eyeliners, it's gonna stay on for you really well, thank God. This is the fun part now. So I'm going to do just one slit in my eyebrow, just the left one, since my hair parts this way and covers up this eyebrow half the time anyways. Whenever I do one on each side, sometimes I like to do them right above my, like, pupil. I think that looks nice. But if it's just on one side, a lot of times I like to do it kind of where most people do it, which is like 3/4 of the way out. So I'm going to find where I want it. I'm going to start removing that product. And obviously, you could do this earlier on in the process, so that there's not quite so much product built up there, but I like to really make sure I have my eyebrow looking how I want it to before I start doing this. So it's up to you if you want to do this on hard mode or what. But yeah, I've got a couple of Q-tips sitting here because it does take sometimes a couple. And we'll have to, like, clean up and reapply my highlight and stuff, but that's okay. Almost there. This is going better than last time I recorded it, at least. Because I can't tell you the last time I did this while I also had, like, a full face of makeup on. And I was not prepared for the mess that I made. Come on. There we go. And I'm just using the dry end that doesn't have any makeup remover on it to just kind of mostly remove the makeup remover. Which I'm just using the Garnier Micellar Water, the waterproof one. That is the only thing that can attack my waterproof eyeliners, in my experience. So I'm going to take my same little concealer foundation brush, and I'm just going to apply this in that empty space. Do, 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 do. And I like to just gently blend it out by just patting it with my finger. With my finger. Woo! And you could do like a really thin slit, you could do a thicker one. I like to have it a little bit bigger just so that I have plenty of space to apply my rhinestone, and then have it like have empty space around it, just because that's how I feel I like the way it looks. Speaking of rhinestone, now I do that. So I just have these like cheap ones that I got from Halloween time. I've also ordered like bulk ones you can get that have a bunch of different sizes on them and stuff. These have also been nice because they already actually have a little like rubber sticky adhesive thing on the back. But I still use lash glue to fully adhere it. So I just use the Duo green one because it's like latex and formaldehyde free, and it's a brush tip, so it's really easy to apply. It's been my favorite for years. And I'm just going to put a little dot of lash glue right in the center of that slit. I'm going to let it dry for a little bit, but personally I like to apply gems as well as lashes while my glue is still actively drying and isn't dry all the way, because I feel like it adheres better, it adheres stronger that way, versus if you let it get super tacky, I don't think it stays on as well. But that's just been my experience. Maybe it's something with my skin chemistry, but I heard someone else say that a long time ago, so I tried it and was a lot happier and was actually able to apply lashes after that. I'm dropping them. Okay, so I'm just going to apply it right where I put that. And I don't have any advice other than practice it. Aha. And another thing is, if you apply it while it's still a little bit wet, you can mess up. And you have time to kind of scoot it around. A lot of times I will use the pad of my finger and kind of pinch it between the pad of my finger and my fingernail, and scoot it around to wherever it was supposed to be that I failed to put it. Cool. So I'm just going to clean them up a little bit more. Make sure there's nothing too egregious happening. There's definitely some like smeary stuff already happening, but unfortunately there's kind of no way to fully avoid that. Especially if you're, you know, doing it on hard mode, i.e. on camera. Cool. Let me put just a little bit of something there, so they're a little more balanced. Another cheat thing I've shown on this channel before is I actually just put my glasses on. because that can really show me if they're super asymmetrical, which they don't appear to be. I'm also quite blind, so I just need to use that to kind of vibe check myself anyways. Alright, cool. I'll go double check that I did an okay job in the mirror before I take my final videos and photos and stuff, but that's basically it. And like I said, these stay on really well, even with my hair laying on it and stuff. It'll smear just a little bit throughout the day, but especially if I take the time to lock it in with a little bit of my powder or something like that, it stays on pretty good. So good luck, have fun. Alright, cool, yay. I did not have to do much. I mostly just had to fix my highlight really quick from all the makeup removal I was doing. But yeah, I also wanted to mention alternative product recommendations. If you don't have a colored eyeliner that you like, I really like the About Face liquid eye paints. I use these as an eyeshadow base all the time. It's what I used as an eyeshadow base for the blue on my smoky eye before I put any eyeshadow on it, and I use the blue Juvia's on top of that. But I love these fluid eye paints. They are also super waterproof, very they're just amazing. Long story short, I went to the Renaissance Festival with giant eye wings using these last year, and I got sunburned at the Renaissance Festival, as you do, but I had fun little eyeliner wings because these are so opaque and they stay on so well that they protected my eye area from sun damage. So yeah, I had cool little sunburn eye wings for a while. That was crazy. But yes. So something like this would work. Some sort of liquid eyeshadow, even a liquid lipstick. I've definitely done that in the past, although you gotta be careful with those formulas. Some of them don't stay on as well and will smear all over your forehead. But yeah, what's crazy is these eyebrows. It took a second to film this, but even with the eyebrow slit, but especially if I don't do the slit, these are so much quicker than my big goth eyebrows, the big geometric ones. So I've been really enjoying these, and I just wanted to share these because everyone's been so nice about them. So yeah, I hope you learned something. If you have any questions, let me know. If there's anything specific you'd like to see from me, let me know. Although I've been busy and in my struggle era, but we'll see what I can do. Yes, I hope you have a lovely day. Bye.